How's it going, guys? This is Nick with Nick vs. Art, and today I just wanted to do a quick kind of overview introduction to 3D printing. I get asked a lot about it, especially since I work in the field. Basically, where I work, I repair 3D printers all day. So I'm very knowledgeable about troubleshooting these. So if you guys have any questions or anything of that sort, feel free to put them in the comments, or go ahead and shoot me an email, and I can try to answer your question as best as possible. Now, 3D printing is one of those things that a lot of people purchase these machines thinking it's one of those things that you can just open the box, set it down, plug it in, and it's going to start spitting out beautiful models. Now, it's true to a point, and they're not as complicated as they look. I don't want to discourage anyone from getting into it because it is a lot of fun. And once you get your machine kind of calibrated, you're pretty much set to go. One of the biggest issues that I see on these 3D printers that people run into is bed leveling. Now, bed leveling, it's one of those things, it's very, very simple to do, but not many people know how to do it. So I'll go over that in another video, but don't get discouraged if your first couple prints, if you go to start the print and you crash the build plate. I did it. I mean, I can show you the dents in this thing. I crash build plate still, like to this day. Just because I forget to do something. So don't let that discourage you. The next thing is clogs. These printers, as awesome as they are, they're not perfect. And one issue that I constantly find on machines, the guys at my job will you know, they'll be able to tell you about this also, but we run into that all the time. You open a machine up, you clean it out, you do a print, everything's perfectly fine. You go to unload the filament, you unload it, you go to check it, and it's clogged. Or you do a print and it's just getting into the first couple layers and it clogs. So definitely an issue that these machines have. Don't worry, it's not that serious. I'll show in another video how to unclog one of these machines and basically how to kind of prevent that from happening. Other than that, that's pretty much the major issues that I see. You may have like a warped frame or something of that sort. If you see on the outside of this one, I've done a couple modifications to this this i3, and I don't see it as like a huge problem. I mean, I was printing with this machine before I did these mods to it, and I was getting great prints before, and I mean, the quality is a little bit better now, but this isn't my primary workhorse. I actually have a Raise 3D N2 Plus, much larger machine, a lot more expensive. I mean, we're comparing you know, a $300 or $400 machine to a $3,000 or $4,000 machine. But I really do like these machines, especially as one of the machines to start off with. This is what I started off with, and I love it because if you have an issue with it, someone else has had that issue, and there's, you know, hundreds of websites you can order parts from. They're just very easy to repair, very easy to get into. Now, the next thing I get asked a lot, other than issues that I run into, I get asked about what are actual uses for this machine. Now, what most people do with these is they print little knickknacks. I mean, knickknacks, but if there's like a video game or a movie or something of that sort that you're into, I could just about guarantee that there's a model out there for you to print, at least something to do with it. There's thousands and thousands of models out there. I mean, you've got websites like Thingiverse and My Mini Factory, Colts, all sorts of different websites. I would definitely check it out, especially if you're thinking about getting a machine. Go on one of those websites, look at the models. They have viewers on there so you can see what the models look like. And a lot of people post their prints so you can see what the model will look like if you were to print it. Now, Other than that, the real practical uses for these, I've seen prosthetics printed with them, which is really cool. I'm glad that that is being done right now because personally, I think the medical field is pretty expensive, and I never could understand why it costs, you know, if someone needed a prosthetic leg, it's tens of thousands of dollars for a prosthetic leg, but if they were to 3D print it, it'd probably cost, you know, a couple hundred, if not less. And I think that's just amazing that they can print that kind of stuff. And actually 3D printing, there's stuff that you can only 3D print that you can't actually make. So I think the medical field is going to benefit greatly from these machines, especially when they start becoming more and more popular. Now, what I think most people that are doing practical things with these, I think they're doing rapid prototyping. I had gone out to Denver while I was a rep, and basically we went to one of our clients to learn a little bit more about their product. It was like a general training, and while they were giving us a tour of the building, I realized they had a 3D printer. And the first thing I said is, "Oh wow, you're doing rapid prototyping." And the guy giving us the tour was like, "Yeah, how did you know?" And I was like, "Well, it makes a lot of sense because basically with 3D printing, normally how rapid prototyping works is a company makes a model, they send it out to someone, that person 3D prints it, or they model it somehow, it gets sent back, they test it on the product, they see if it works. If it doesn't work, they repeat the process. It's a very, very time-consuming and expensive process. Now, with a 3D printer, basically you could have someone render the model for you, or you can render it yourself. I print everything that I do at home. They can print it in the office or wherever they're at, and they get immediate results. So they can know immediately if something's going to fit or not, instead of having to wait weeks and weeks and weeks and going back and forth and spending all this money when they could just do it right here. Now, other than that, practical uses, I've seen people print parts. Like stuff for cars. There are stronger materials, like what I'm printing with right now. This is PLA. There's ABS, which is, I believe, what they make Legos out of. It's very strong. There's PETG, polypropylene, nylon, all sorts of different exotic materials out there. The reason why I think most people use PLA is because it's the most easily accessible, and pretty much every printer can print it. I mean, I don't know of any FDM printer right now that can't print PLA. That's just what they do. Now, other than that, if you're looking at doing something a little bit more functional, there are 3D printers out there, like more expensive ones that can print parts that are made out of solid carbon fiber. And I mean, I've seen like wrenches and that kind of stuff printed, but other than that, that's pretty much where we're at with 3D printers. Now, mostly what I use mine for throughout the day or when I'm gone, I have it 3D printing my little keychains. I want to thank Forge for basically making the model for the spinner. I used to work with her when I was at Race 3D, and she made like such cool models. So I mean, definitely check her out. She's got some pretty cool stuff. Now, me as as someone who does 3D rendering, I'm okay at it. I can make picture frames. That's pretty much where I'm at right now. I'm still trying to learn. But if you guys want to see a video, just a very, very basic, maybe I can do one how to make a picture frame. If you guys want to see something like that, leave it in the comments, and I'll go ahead and do a quick video about that. But other than that, this is an introduction to 3D printing. Definitely check some out. I feel like everyone could use one of these in their house. my mom basically had sprained one of her fingers, and she didn't want to go to the doctor that night. And I kept telling her, you have to go, you have to go, you have to go. And she's just like, well, I'll go in the morning. So what I ended up doing was taking my 3D printer, and I 3D printed a splint for her, you know, at least so she could have something until the morning. And I just thought that was like the coolest thing. I mean, not the whole like sprained finger part, but the ability to make something functional immediately and just hand it to her. We didn't have to go to a store. I don't have to try to find somewhere. I just 3D print it, hand it to her. She's ready to go. I mean, definitely seek medical attention if you are injured. Do not 3D print parts, especially not whole. Like don't 3D print a leg if you like, you know, are injured. But yeah, other than that, this is 3D printing. I hope to see a bunch of you guys doing some 3D printing. Post your videos, ask your questions, leave some comments, subscribe, and let me know how I'm doing. I hope you guys have fun, and I'm gonna really try to post some videos more often. One of my coworkers, Brian, is always hounding me about it, and it's one of those things. It's very challenging. I'm finding it very challenging to be consistent with this. So, I mean, if you guys like what you see, put it in the comments. Let me know, and I'll do my best to get some more videos up. All right. Well, everyone have a wonderful evening or a wonderful morning. I don't know what time it is that you're watching this. So I'll see you next time.